started. So let me figure out first how to change this slide. There we go. We go to the next slide here. And I hope you can see that too. So some of you, of course, already know me. You know more or less what I do already, but some of people who signed up don't know anything about me, which is very exciting sometimes. So I have to present myself. My name is Lais. I am the founder of Abundant Chicks. And I've been now working in this field nearly a decade, since 2011, when I had my own spiritual awakening. And since then, I came a long way from working just face to face with women in Switzerland to working online with women globally, which is very, very, very exciting. So, my favorite thing to do indeed is to assist women in releasing their abundance blocks from their past, present, future in order to uplevel their lives, their businesses, or careers. And yes, that brings us to our topic today, which includes your home office or your office where you work externally. Of course, also sometimes the homes, right? But all that is part of making sure that there's no abundance blocks that are preventing you to create or to manifest what it is that you wish. So today, of course, it's all about the office, it's about business, it's about money, it's about your career, whichever thing speaks to you. I think some of you I know already have their own businesses, but I'm sure people who signed up also have a career and they have an open space office, which can be very overwhelming with lots of energy going on. But even in our small home offices, there can be a whole lot going on. So I'm excited to share a bit of what that is and a few case studies here and there that I picked up in my time working on healing and clearing those home offices. Of course, you can, if you're live here, you can use the chat box to ask questions as well. So voila, that's a bit about me and what I do. And we will go into very different areas today that are listed above here, which are emotions, limiting beliefs and fears, ley lines, vortex, spirits, but even trapped elementals. That is a funny case study. Also, the memory of the ground below your office, very important, including also past lives and karmic links to places where you lived before, which can bring forward some karma. And also not having a protector of the space, because having one, I will explain later, of course, has its benefits as well. So let's see what we start with here. It's the stuck emotions. So I'm sure that we all have emotions. I'm sure you have emotions. You get frustrated, you get angry. As women, we are emotional beings anyway. And the more frustrated or the more we show all these emotions in our office spaces, the more they are there. They are trapped or stuck in our office space. But the worst thing is we don't even know what is there before we move in. So previous tenants can have left stuff there and we don't even know. They can have had their office space there as well. They can have had a failure. They can have gone bankrupt. They can have had all sorts of frustrations and frustrations, anger, all sorts of emotions they went through that you still pick up on now that you rent the office space. Or if it's your home office, you did never know what was in there before, whether it was also an office or if there was a sick person living in there, chronically depressed, or if anything bad happened in that house. Rest assured that the emotion is still there in that room. So emotions are energy in motion, I always say. They are energy that can just float around and they stay in the room, even though we cannot see it. Sometimes I wish we did, because then it would be so much easier to clear our spaces, but we don't see it yet. It's all there. Our emotions, other people's emotions. If you do client work just like I do, whether it's face-to-face or online, it doesn't matter. If you work with clients online, their energy can float into your office as well. So if you're a service provider of any kind, you're on the phone to people or even just on the internet, the energy link is there right away. And they can send you their emotions over to your space, and then it's there until we clear it away. So yes, in terms of our abundance levels, of course, all these negative emotions, they have different vibrations. So I know that the worst ones that we can have is guilt and shame, all these heavy emotions, they all have different energetic vibrations to them. And the more of them are there, the more they lower your own vibration and your ability to manifest an abundant business or being abundant in your general life. So clearing emotions away is huge, 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 for your business or career. It doesn't matter. It will make a huge difference. Now, next, limiting beliefs and fears, and that's exactly the same thing. It's all energy based. So if it's your limiting beliefs and fears or somebody else's, somebody who lived there before, it's all there in forms of energy, lowering your own vibration and your ability to manifest. It keeps you playing small. It significantly lowers the energy of your office for sure. And it's especially bad if it's not even yours, right? If people had limiting beliefs that, they were failures or not good enough and you take it on. Sometimes we don't even know. We think it's our own thoughts, but it isn't. And then we keep thinking those thoughts. So it's so important to clear that out as well, just as with the emotions, because all this stuff is really in the way of manifesting a great business. So I had a case study actually from South Africa recently that I was helping a lady to clear her office space. And the very first thing that popped up very strongly was the feeling or the thought of feeling I am unsupported. And I knew nothing about this lady. So I did my work. I accessed via distance her energy in her office space, and unsupported, or this limiting belief of I am unsupported, popped up a few times really strongly. And as I talked to her later on and I said, this is what came up, she said, yes, my husband died 2 or 3 years ago. He was my main support. Since then, I've been feeling unsupported the entire time. On top, she's in a wheelchair now, so she is needing assistance from people to come into her house, into her office, and help her all day long. So this is a huge thing that she keeps thinking and feeling, and it's lowering the vibration of her entire business because of this. So we cleared that away, made sure that there is no unsupported energy left in the office. And I told her to pick then the opposite, which is, feeling supported by the universe, by her guides, by her higher self. And with that energy, we can then attract similar energies, right? We can attract helpful people, helpful clients, or clients in general who come in and want to work with us. And so this whole energy shift was so important. And that's just one example. There was another lady, I think also South Africa, who I picked up on emotional eating problems. And she didn't have this before she moved into that space and was working there, but she started to have these emotional eating problems. And it was from a previous tenant, previous people living there. And she picked up on it thinking it was her own. And then she developed her own eating or emotional eating problems. So you see how huge this is. Sometimes we are not realizing what we pick up on and that it's not our energy, our thoughts, our emotions. Right. The next, ley lines. So some of you might have heard of it already, ley lines or energy lines. You can call them either way. Ley lines are energy lines and they can cause all sorts of health issues, concentration problems, sleep problems. And usually it's these lines that are used by spirits because they travel along those lines. So there can be spirit activity if you have such a line in your office or in your home in general. And that is it brings you out of focus, out of concentration. Very famous ancient buildings are always built at such ley lines, or even when two ley lines cross, which builds a vortex, which I'll get to next. But yes, having a ley line in your office is not that great. It might cause you all sorts of concentration problems, especially if there's a lot of spirit activity going on. It's not that great. Some people like ley lines because they find they can meditate and connect really well to the divine. But again, meditation is a different thing than, working every single day in that space. So those energies are great when you go to power places like Stonehenge, where the big vortexes are. But not so great to have it in your home or in your office because it will just prevent you to focus, do your work, etc. Sometimes I can move these ley lines, so I wait for divine guidance. Sometimes they tell me I am allowed to move a ley line. Other times it's very important that the ley line stays there, and then the only option is to either deal with it or to actually move out. So I had clients who actually decided to sell their homes at some point because it was just a nightmare, or to move out if you're renting. Yeah, that sucks, but it happens. And I actually had a case in Denmark. It was especially funny because she had a home office, and there was a ley line that I picked up on. And once I told her that there's a ley line, she said, "Oh, maybe that's this weird vinegar smell that I keep smelling all the time." And I had never heard of this before, that they smell of anything, but I thought, hey, let's see what happens if I remove this line. And in this case, my divine assistants told me I could. So they helped me to move it out into the garden, and believe it or not, the vinegar smell disappeared. So some people are sensitive to these lines. They might be able to smell them. And well, since then, she obviously feels much better in her home and home office, feeling more creative, more focused. She goes out less, she says now, because she feels really well in her home without the ley line. Which brings us to the vortex, which is what happens when two of those ley lines cross, and that's even worse because imagine the amount of energy you have in your office then. It's not just one ley line, but two, and plus they create a vortex, and that's what spirits use to reach their higher dimensions, which is when they want to go home finally. So basically, you're sitting there on these ley lines and on this vortex, and those vortexes can be blocked or clogged up, and that can cause, again, terrible health issues. I had a case of where I had a client who had moved into a place and had developed much higher blood pressure. So once I sent healing, I got information that there was a vortex in the living room, and I was allowed to move it as well. With vortex, it's the same thing as with ley line. Sometimes I am allowed to move, otherwise I'm not. In this case, I was. And as I did, the tests then revealed that the blood pressure went down immediately, right after. So health issues are not just high blood pressure, but it can be all sorts of things. There's a whole list of things that you can develop by having a vortex in your office space, or if you live there at home as well. On top, having a vortex or ley lines can prevent you to sell your business as well. Just something that I wanted to mention. I had been working with a client in the UK who hadn't sold his shop in a decade. Never sold until I did a clearing, and then it sold right away. So these things can prevent you as well from selling your stuff. And well, selling a shop is a physical thing, but imagine then what is the energetics around it, selling your services, right? Selling your products online. So whatever line of business you're in, it can prevent you to sell your stuff. So we get more about spirits and trapped elementals I would like to talk about because it came up a few times in my work now. So, as I said, spirits travel along those lines, but sometimes they pop up into your office or home space even without those lines being present. So, they can be previous owners of that place, if that is an old place, who are still there, who are invested in that place. It can be any other random spirits that followed you back home or that just found your space and decided to stay there. It doesn't matter. What matters is that spirits can be in your space, whether there are ley lines and vortexes or not. Obviously, these earthbound spirits, they have lower energies than higher spiritual beings as our spirit guides and angels. So we don't want them in our office space or in our homes. because that will just take away from our ability to manifest higher frequency stuff, right? All the abundance we wish or the success in our business will just be lowered by having these earthbound spirits walking around. So, and about these trapped elementals, sometimes I have it when clients bought or built a house somewhere in nature, in very special places. Sometimes it happens that they build it on top of a sacred shrine or sacred place from those elementals. Elementals can be nature spirits, you know, those spirits that take care of nature. And then they get very pissed, obviously, because it's their space. So I had two cases like this now, one in France and one in Costa Rica. And the one in Costa Rica was a really special place with a waterfall, with like ancient stones, a very special place. And the lady, she built a new house on top of those stones in the sacred space from those elementals. And they were so pissed. And then as soon as she moved in, she had huge failures in her own business and everything was just going nuts. And those elementals were partly causing it. So there were all sorts of other issues too that I picked up on, but those were one of the main ones. And so I had to talk to those elementals, make sure they find a new space in her garden. So I had to bring them out of the home, make sure they're fine with the new space. And yeah, and as soon as they left, the energy of the home became much better, and her home office as well. And yeah, I just also want to mention that sometimes we think saging does all the trick, but it doesn't. In these cases, with spirits, especially if they want to stay, they will just look at the sage and think, "What is she doing? Right? Why is she burning incense?" Some spirits will not mind. They will just stay anyway, and you can do all the saging you want, and they will still stay there. Let me just remind myself if I have any other case study to share. I think they will come later. Yes, with this one, for example, memory of the ground below. So we have an office space or home, and we are on a certain ground that it was built on, and we have no idea what happened there in ancient times or in times, you know, before the house was there. So sometimes I pick up on ancient energies. It can be conflict, it can be war, it can be anything terrible that happened exactly on that spot where the house was built. It could be anything like somebody was violated there or abused in any way, or you know, somebody died there, somebody got killed there, the wars, etc. All of that will play into your office as well, then, of course, because it's built right on top. So again, you can't smudge it away with sage because that's just an energy that is ever so present and it needs to be removed energetically with intention and with powerful healing guides. And there I have a funny case study, actually a few. So one was this lady who went away on a holiday and she booked a house with her friends. And then at night she found out there were poltergeists moving things around, and then even the whole electrical system just blew up and they were without electricity. It was just a nightmare. Everybody was freaking out. They had been woken up by spirit activity in their dreams as well at this exact same time, 3 a.m. Everybody had spirits in their dreams, and then this whole electrical nightmare and things moving around. So when I zoned into the energy of that space, they brought me back to the Roman time when Romans invaded that place, and the whole war and conflict and people dying and etc. All that energy was just below the house. And I didn't even know where she was located on that holiday property. But when I asked her, she told me the name of the city, and it was exactly the place where Caesar or you know his crew landed, whatever age that was, whatever year. And so yes, that whole town, I guess, or village would have that memory, but especially under that house, there was some stuff going on that had to be removed. Yeah, so that can happen, and that will bring your ability to manifest amazing things down for sure. Let's see what else we have. Oh, past lives and karma. So I had a very interesting case recently where a lady was asking about her business and career. She wanted some intuitive guidance. And the first message I received was that she was karmically linked to the city she was in. And I knew nothing about where she was based, what town. So then I said, yeah, there's some abundance blocks there based on the past life that you had in this place. And it seems to me like you were murdered. And later she revealed she's from Salem, where the witch hunts were. And she was a healer, a powerful healer, but yeah, got killed. And so she was karmically linked to this place, Salem, and was having all sorts of abundance blocks issues because of her past lives and this, heavy karma she brought forward, which needed to be cleared for her to confidently then manifest what it is that she wants to create. And another client from South Africa again, she when I did her home office clearing, they showed me her throat chakra. So that happens too. When I do home offices, sometimes they direct me back to the clients and their energy system. And there they showed me a past life where she had been strangled by her husband and she died. And so there was this heavy block around her throat chakra still in this life. And then she tells me in this life, she's always choking when she has something too tight around her neck. She can't wear any jewelry around there or the scarves that are too tight because she starts choking and hyperventilating. So that was a strong proof that past lives can still have a huge effect on us in this life. On top, it was messing with her abundance energy in relation to her office, because otherwise her guides or my guides wouldn't have showed it to me. So again, past lives had a huge impact in how she's performing in her business and the energy around her business. And on top, she told me in this life, because I told her that the husband in the past life was her mother in this life, and she told me her mother even tried to strangle her in this life. So she brought this karmic relationship, and her mother still was doing the same stuff as in the past life, still tried to strangle her in this life. So you see, sometimes we need to address those issues as well, because they can come up as huge blocks in our businesses or careers. And that energy will be all around your office then. So not great. And here again, what you can do here, if you are already an energy healer, you of course send healing back to past lives, you do your forgiveness work, you know probably what to do. If you have no idea how to heal past lives and karma, you should definitely seek an expert who has done this many times, who knows what they're doing, and trust that they clear your energy field. And then we get to the protector of the space. So that's always the fun part at the end. Once I cleared the space, the office space, I always like to invoke a protector of the space. Those are usually highly spiritual beings who volunteer to come and to protect your space going forward, meaning making sure that no new negative energy can settle there. So they keep transmuting the energy for you. They keep you inspired. I always ask my clients to pick 2 to 3 things they wish to invoke in terms of emotions or states of being, like I want to be more abundant in this space, or feel more creative, or inspired. And then I will invoke specifically those 2 to 3 things that they can feel more of. And the protector of the space will take over that as well. Make sure that this is the thing that my clients can feel more of, or show them where the blocks are in case there are blocks in their energetic system, so they can overcome this to feel more of that stuff. So these protectors of the spaces are amazing to have in your business or in your career, so that you know that you're well protected at all times, and the energy is just always at a high level, and it's not preventing you to manifest, but actually enabling you to be more of a manifestor than before, right? So that is, for me, one of my most favorite things to do is to invoke these spiritual beings. And they're so loving and caring, and they show up right away. So it's always very great to work with them. So let me just see, does anybody so far have any questions? Do let me know in the text box or chat box. I'm very happy to answer any questions of what we spoke already. I'll just take a sip of my coffee in the meantime. So these are just the main things I would look for. There is actually quite a few more that I will go through. It's like a checklist I go through. There can be more things that can lower the energy in your office space, but today I will just focus on these main ones because they will already have a huge effect if those are removed or released. And yeah, I can pinpoint exactly what emotions and limiting beliefs and also which year they appeared so that my clients know, it's definitely not mine because I only moved in such year, and then that must be the previous people who were here. So it's quite helpful to know when these things appeared and exactly which emotions, which limiting beliefs. So, okay, we have a question from Sylvie. Can drugs and alcohol consumption from a neighbor add to a bad vibration and reduce abundance energy? So yes, it can. I had this one client from not South Africa, Costa Rica actually. I picked up that there was some drug energy around in her garden or in her space basically, and I was wondering why that was. And then she told me nearby in a park, it's where all these homeless people, but also junkies meet, and sometimes they just walk over somehow to that garden, and so the energy was, even though they didn't enter the garden as such, the energy of drugs and alcohol and whatever they were consuming just made its way to the garden, influencing the energy of the garden. So I had to remove that, make sure it doesn't come in anymore. So great question, Sylvie, actually. So yes, it can absolutely move into your space, especially if you think about it a lot. The more we think about these things, we invite them in. So you need to protect your space, make like a shield around your entire space with the intention that alcohol and drug energy doesn't come through the walls, through the ceiling, through the windows, etc. Because it definitely can. But that way you should be more protected, and then it wouldn't affect you. But that's an amazing question. You're welcome. Let me just see. Yes. Any other questions, or else we can move on, and I'll soon pick a few to give a psychic live reading of your own office space, or wherever you work, and see what's coming up there if you want to. Oh, another great question here from Anne. How do you keep limiting beliefs from coming back? Exactly. So that's the empowering part then, isn't it? The first empowering step is to realize, oh, all these thoughts that are here in my office space have been blocking me, preventing me to access my genius, to manifest my potential. And then what I do with clients is that they need to pick the opposite of that limiting belief that they had, or something at least very empowering. It doesn't have to be the exact opposite, but they pick whatever they wish to concentrate on and a new belief that is empowering to them. And they will start rewiring their brain with that thought, right? So the more we have the old thought popping in, that's normal. We are just human beings. But we can tell ourselves and our subconscious mind, okay, that thought popped up, but it doesn't define me any longer. So I will right away think the opposite thought now. And then you just give power to that and all the energy to that new thought. And of course, it takes a while, right? It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Our brains just need a bit of time to catch up and to build all these new synapses, new pathways for the new thoughts to come in. And the more we think those new thoughts, the more they pop up. That's how it works in the brain. That's an excellent question. Yes, exactly. Recognizing the limiting belief, consciously replacing it. Exactly. It's a whole process, but a very empowering one. So the first step is to just recognize how many limiting beliefs are there, and fears as well, in your office space or home space, and then to reframe them in a way that it's empowering, positive belief that you want to choose going forward. Amazing question. Any other questions? So for people, it might not be relevant to you live right here, but there's lots of people who work in open spaces, in big offices, open spaces, and there they might be influenced by a whole lot of different energies from different people. Even then, they sometimes hire me to do the office clearing, and that helps. But then I protect their own individual office space, their desk or their chair, wherever they're sitting, with a little bubble of protection, and that works also incredibly well. Even if you are in an open space office, you can still be protected from tense and negative energies. And yeah, that is also especially for highly sensitive people, empaths who get overwhelmed by too much energy. That's something amazing they can do for themselves. Make sure they don't suffer in the big open space office. Also, let me just mention a few things of like home remedies that you can do. Sometimes, of course, sage is not enough, but saging already makes a huge difference and keeps your space in a better energy. So if you have white sage, you can burn it in your office. If you have heavy client work, like I do with very heavy cases, sometimes it's better to do it very often, like at least once a week, or even every day if you have very heavy cases, client work with lots of healing involved. I would do that very often. Also putting sea salt in little bowls and putting them around in the office for a few days, that just absorbs negative energy in general. So those two things, and then plants, of course, green plants always absorb negative energy. Having crystals around helps elevate the frequency of your office. But overall, also making sure your own energy is in good shape, your own system, your own energies. As I said, with the past lives before and the karma, that's your own energy that you bring into your office space. So if that is not cleared, it will just always be in your office space too. And it's from that energy and that frequency that you start manifesting your business or career progression. And so there will be huge limits and blocks if you bring forward all that karma and that heavy energy from the past, or even ancestral stuff. There's a whole lot of different things I check on for individual clients, which should be another webinar, but just mentioning. Make sure your own energy is always on top as well. There are certain plants that are more effective than others. Actually, I'm sure there are. Well, for example, there is this tree that is called the abundance tree, and I forgot the actual name now, but it's this Chinese or Japanese, I'm not sure, little tree. What is it called? I have to look it up, but that is very good for abundance. That elevates just the abundance energy in general. They're just highly sensitive. They die quite quickly if the energy is not good enough. But I'm sure there's other plants for absorb negative energy. Actually, I should Google this. I just generally like to buy plants and flowers, and it does help. All right. Okay, Gita is saying working hard to not pick up the very stressful energies, limiting beliefs in general. And she's currently living with somebody else. Yeah, so if you live with other people and you're working from that same place, exactly, you're picking up on other people's emotions, limiting beliefs, their own frequencies all over the place, of course, if you're living with somebody who already lived there a long time. So you need to make sure that you clear your own room where you're staying at. Make sure that it's only your own energy signature in there. And make sure you just keep your own energy cleansed at all times, with your energy protected, so that your business also is protected. But that's also a great question, because lots of people share their spaces, of course. So, yeah. Okay, let's just see. Yeah, so we covered this already. You might, with all those energies or some of them in place in your office, any of those areas will lower your vibration and your business's vibration significantly, which prevents us from manifesting our desires and our dreams. And we might keep playing small or smaller than we would normally. Also, we might just have less energy, we might get sick more often, and we might just attract more karmic or turbulent relationships with clients or money in general. So all sorts of things can happen if we have all this negative energy around and within us, right? Anyway, so this is to say, if you are interested in an office space clearing, you can, of course, contact me. You have the email here. It's lais@abundantchicks.com. Or if you want more info, it's on my website as well, abundantchicks.com. If you're watching this in August as a replay as well, I have an amazing promo at the moment. It's a 2-for-1 promo, so you get an amazing office space clearing and a free psychic session on your abundance blocks. And that's those blocks that are within your own energetic system, right? All the things I described, such as past lives and karma, that's your own energy. I will go through all your energetic system and retrieve higher guidance as to what is blocking you to have the financial success or the career progression you dream about. All the things that are blocking you. It's a 1-hour session that's normally $197. You get that for free. So I'm very excited. Tomorrow I have my first client who booked this, so I'm excited to see how that will go. And yeah, only $247 for the office space clearing, and the rest is free. So again, you can contact me on my email address. And otherwise, I would open it up now for anyone who would like me to access their energy in their home office. You would just need to let me know if it's a home office or if you are in a external office with other people. Just describe a little bit what this office space is like, and if I have your permission, I would give you a few messages around your office space. Anne is asking if you have to be in that office now. No, no, you don't have to be there. I just need to know more about it so I can access the energy, but you don't have to be there. Okay, so Sylvie is saying she's at home in her flat, but you also work from a chalet. Much better energy. Oh, in the mountain? Yes, I can imagine. So Sylvie, I guess you want me to access your flat in Geneva then, right? Because the other one has already good energy, you said? Okay, so let me just zone into your space's energy, see what a few messages are that they have for you. So one moment. Okay, the overall energy right now, they're showing me 75%. So that's not too bad actually, right? 75% is still quite okay. And so they showed me there is limiting beliefs, and I have a whole list, so just give me a moment. I'm going to pinpoint exactly which one. Okay, the first one that comes to my attention here is this limiting belief of better stop wanting. Like if you get your hopes up, you just get hurt. This limiting belief that, oh my God, if I wish too big or have too many dreams or dreams that are too high to achieve, I might just get disappointed. I might not get there. I might feel like a failure. This kind of energy is in your office space right now. So it might be yours, but it might also be one of any of the number of clients who show up there every day. Wait, I can even check which year. Maybe that is better for you. So it started being there around 2018. Again, it can have been then any of the clients who showed up there, your own, or even a combination, right? It can be both as well. So clearing that will definitely help you with manifesting your dreams quicker, because believing that we might get disappointed, that we don't reach that goal, or that we just stop wanting to big of a goal, it just limits us in manifesting that amazing stuff. Let's see what else shows up. Okay, the next info they want to share is that there is an energy underneath the building, so something in the ground. I'm just trying to find out what it is. Let me see. It's some sort of conflict. So I don't know exactly what conflict. It's not like a war conflict, but some sort of conflict. Conflict about this piece of land. So sometimes it can even be, people who were fighting, who can buy this piece of land, or there was conflict within the family about who inherited that piece of land. There's conflict around this piece of land, lowering the abundance energy of everybody living in this building. So you can, in your case, I know you can do energy healing, so you can just send healing to the piece of land that is underneath the whole thing. Yeah, this greedy energy of somebody who that didn't like what was happening, who got the piece of land. Uh, Something around that. Yes, so send all healing back in time to whenever this happened. Yeah, those are the two main things they want you to focus on. So I think you can have significant improvements by changing or clearing away the limiting belief we talked about, and then the energy of the ground would be amazing for your home office. Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see. Gita is working from the kitchen. Okay, Gita, I will just zone into the kitchen and see what is it that they want you to know. Yeah, okay, that's funny. There seems to be a spirit cat. So whatever cat died in the past made its way into your apartment, well, right now I feel her in the kitchen. So, that's nothing nasty to worry about. But as I said, spirits or even spirit animals can lower the vibration. So if you're lovingly tell her to go to the light, to the next stage, and make sure then that she left this entire apartment. That would be great. It's the first thing that pops up. Mm. Yeah, and then they're showing me lots of trapped emotions. So I will pinpoint one. Let's see, the strongest one right now is betrayal. So betrayal is a very negative emotion to have, especially when we want to do business, because then we just attract more of the same. People betraying us, clients not wanting to pay us, or clients feeling betrayed by us for no reason whatsoever. So it can be your co-living partner, your friend, his betrayal, but it can also be your own that you brought with you, or a combination of two, right? It can also be your client's energy of betrayal that they left behind as you worked with them. So just make sure you remove this because that will improve a lot the energy for you to work on your business. And let's see what else they tell me. Uh, okay, actually, they're not talking about the kitchen space, but about your bedroom. So I wonder how you sleep in there. They're mentioning Feng Shui, and Feng Shui is all about the direction you sleep in. If it's the bedroom, for example, it could be that the bed is just in the wrong direction for you to sleep. Maybe you sleep, but you wake up really tired or not at your best. They are saying definitely look into this Feng Shui aspect of how your bed is located, because of course, how you sleep has a huge effect on your business too. Feeling more concentrated and inspired if we sleep well is very important. So that's what they want you to know. Sometimes we cannot move the bed around if it's a small room, but then you can still clear a bit the energy of that space, or whatever energy of frustration you get up with in the morning because you spend a long time in your bedroom sleeping and in your bed. So waking up in a good energy is already very important if we want then to have a great business, work on our business. So yeah, those two things for you, Gitte. Hope that helps. And then we have Anne. My office is windowless. Ooh, what? No windows in the office and small in Connecticut. The energy feels stagnant. I have a door I can close, but the whole office has kind of a neurotic vibe. Yeah, of course. Well, of course, having your own office space is already better than no office space at all, even though there's no window. But I can imagine it's not the best space to feel inspired in. In fact, my guides are already like shaking their heads, like, no, 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 she shouldn't work in there. So I think you have to divide a bit what you do in there, because for any kind of inspirational work, when you want to be creative and you want to feel inspired, that's not the space your guides will go into to inspire you or to even guide you. You have to find a space somewhere else where you can do that. I would dedicate a whole new spot to this. And then I would just do the manual things that are really easy to do in that office space, like the routine stuff that you can do with your eyes closed, basically. All the other stuff that is creative or inspirational, I would never do in there. They are telling me, they're just shaking their heads and laughing. You cannot be inspired in that room. Um, yeah, there's nothing you can do. Like, even if you clear it and the energy is like 100%, that's not the space for you to be highly creative or inspired. So I hope you find a new spot in your home where you can just do the inspirational stuff, and then focus the manual, like routine kind of stuff to that room. And let's see what else they show me. Yeah, and I don't know if it's decorated at all or if you feel well in there. They're basically what they're showing me is like a lack of attention to detail, or a lack of love when decorating it, or just putting in some random pieces here and there maybe, but not really that anything that sparks joy. I don't know if you are into Marie Kondo at all. I read her book ages ago. Now she even has the Netflix series, but she says we only should surround ourselves with items that spark joy, and that's important in our businesses and careers too. If we are surrounded by beautiful paintings with colors that inspire us, or some decorative items or plant, or whatever, that will inspire joy, that will already have a massive impact versus just putting some random place, the random decorations that we don't really care about. um, let's see, I do the creative stuff there because that's where the technology I use to do this. Oh, Yeah, so that's bad. I think the technology, yeah, even if the technology is in that room, it won't help you much to be inspired and creative, as at least not to the huge degree that you could be if it was someplace else and you didn't put energy into decorating it. Yes, so that's the next step for you. They are showing to really make it your own, at least your own energy imprint in there by making an effort and being surrounded by something that sparks joy. Uh, Sure, Sylvie, no problem at all. It was great you joined live. Thanks for that and enjoy your day. Uh, yes, so, and sorry if it's really bad news. I hope you still find a different place for your technology. And if you do, I'm sure you would notice a huge difference in your energy and how you just, tap into your business or career, whatever you're working on. Yeah, sometimes these things can suck, of course, because you have to make huge changes, but it's all for the better, of course, better of your own energy. Right. Any other questions before we end this webinar? Let me know in the chat box. You're welcome, Anne. Yes, make your best. Try your best. Yes, awesome. Yes, and as I said, if you do a lot of client work, work with other people, make sure it's always cleared more frequently even than as if you just work alone, because our clients or people we work with, partners, colleagues, etc., they all have their energy as well. That interferes with our own genius. So great. I hope you got a few ideas here and there of things you can do to improve or some guidance. And you're welcome, Anne. I love doing this. Great. Awesome. Well, then again, thank you for everybody who joined live, and also thank you for anybody who is watching this as a replay going forward. I love catching up with everybody. If you want to send me an email with questions, feel free to. So, lots of love to everybody. Big hugs. Have a great day and take care, my dears. Blessings to everybody. Bye bye.